Welcome to Trading Lounge and the Australian report for the 1st of December. So yesterday we were talking about the long-term commodity cycle for BHP, and that we would start looking at some of the commodities within that space. So we're going to have a look at copper today, and just quickly just compare it to BHP here. So first of all, with BHP here, we're looking at wave 3, 4 and 5 here with an ABC pattern here, and then up for 1 here and back for 2. And as I pointed out yesterday, we have this 3-wave price action here on the COVID low, so it's corrective. And then we have this 5-wave structure moving up here for wave 1 and back for wave 2. So we're looking at this market moving higher at this point. So starting a long-term cycle to the upside here for this market. And one of the things that, I mean, there's a fair bit of confirmation in this already in that having 3 waves here, having 5 waves here, having 3 waves here, and having 5 waves here. So we're getting impulse waves to the upside and corrective waves to the downside. So this is a really long, time period through here. So and you can see the size of wave 1 here. So we can pretty much see this moving a long way up from this point. So it's a fantastic opportunity for longer term portfolio holders to tune into this particular market. And we just need to confirm things along the way. We need to look at it in terms of folks trading it with stock and CFDs and holding it longer term. But what I wanted to do today was just to look at this particular pattern here in a general way and compare it to copper. So on my trading levels charting program here, this is copper here. This is, I think I've got it on a monthly chart here. Let me just check. Yeah, so it's on a monthly cycle. That was the same as BHP. So we could look at this low here in 2016 and this high here in 2011. We compare those to BHP. I can see that this is 5 waves down through here. And we could also look at this as an A and a B and a C wave here for wave A, and then an A and a B and a C here for wave B, and then moving down into wave C here in terms of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 here, and then down for 5, an extension in the 5th wave, so to speak, of wave C, and then wave 1 and 2 here. And then we've also got an impulse wave here. But in just comparing it, if we take the 2016 low and the 2011 high, and then just compare those over here, so we've got the 2016 low here, and we've got the 2011 high here. So really we've got much the same pattern as copper here for this, and that's why they call it Dr. Copper, because it's kind of the health of the economy, but it fits in nicely with BHP, so you probably already know that, but it's just good to look at these things and just sort of have a look around the paddock and see what else is growing in the same way. So all looking very positive on this note. I will just drive in here a little bit. It's not a but I won't spend that much time on it. You can see here that quite clearly that we've got a 3-wave pattern here, so that means we should be taking out that high here, and we've got a nice clear 5-wave structure up at this point. The only thing I'm not that I'm a little bit, well, not that concerned about, but not quite sure about, is that do we have wave 2 in place, or do we have one more move down for that here? So going from the weekly to the daily chart here, we got 5 waves up here for wave 1. As I mentioned before, this wave 2 pulling back here, it's pulled back enough, I guess, but it's possible to have this all here as the A wave here, the B wave over here, and a C wave coming back down into this space here. So it is a little bit of a concern. So we're just keeping an eye on what we're doing here. We've been building in half positions except for this one, and we'll look to build in if we can get support on 40. So getting support on 40 is really the catalyst to take us higher at that point. So we just need to see how that floats at the moment. This move up here can be counted in 3 waves, but it can also be counted in 5 waves as well. So we'll just see how it evolves a little bit further before I can make a get confirmation on that. So I need more price action there. But anyway, I think, you know, bringing in the BHP story and the copper story, and seeing them that they're both the same and they've got that long-term potential to the upside, I think that's pretty exciting. So portfolio holders can either look to keep tuning in. If we get support on 40, then that's going to give you a lot of confidence at that point. The only thing I'm not sure about is if we actually have a 5-wave sequence back down here as an A and a B and a C wave coming down into this space. It's a bit of a 50-50 bet at this stage, but I think you know, if the US markets are going to pick to the upside, if we've got that count right, well then this wave 2 will be correct at that point. But still, I need to get confirmation on that. So that's the BHP story for today. The ASX has pulled back here, so we'll need to. We've had it as wave 1 here and wave 2 here. So we probably have to move to the alternative wave 1 and 2 in this space here for this. So it also gives us a classic trading levels pattern at that particular level there. So we've got the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level. So the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level, then the ABC pattern. That's what we're probably looking at now at the moment. So in my basic charting picture here, we have the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level, and it looks like we're about here. So a bounce and then down again at this point, and then up from that point. So I think that we could be in that position with that, and this is pulling back because of CBA. So well, I'll just move into the 4-hour chart here for a moment. So looking a little bit like that, but it will be CBA that's driving this particular pattern. So with CBA here, I'm not sure if this is 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here at the moment. Okay, so but I'm okay with this being wave 1 here and 2 here, and even worst case scenario, we could put wave 3 here and wave 4 here. But what I'm saying is we still have more to go up here, but I think that we're over here with this. But even so, it doesn't matter. We can expect a correction here. This is, it never, when it arrived here, it never had the correction here. So there's only 3 patterns that can occur at the levels. We just had a look at one of them just then, which is the classic trading levels pattern. And then we have the variation on this particular pattern where it doesn't come back below the level here. It sits like that. But in both cases here, these ones have reacted here. So the pattern where it doesn't react there is called the overshoot pattern, where it doesn't react here and just goes straight up, and then basically the volume becomes lower at this point, and it runs out of steam, of course, and then it drops back in here. So with CBA, this is where we are. So with CBA, we never reacted here. We made the first high above the level, and we're about here as well. So we're still looking for this here. So CBA can pull down to roughly around 77 area, but that's just a very rough guess off the top of my head. But that's the pattern where we're looking at the overshoot pattern here. So on the 4-hour chart, I'll go to the 1-hour chart. So it does look a bit impulsive down here. So I can just remove this now. I'll just move that out of the way for a second. I'll need to pull that apart on the tick chart. But one of the things that sort of haunts me a little bit is that, yes, technically I should take the wave 4 low for this wave 2 low here, for example, if I took it from this spike here, but I don't particularly like spikes, as I mentioned before. We could put that up there and we come into 76.68 or something, so that's there. But I don't particularly like spikes, so I think that we're actually working with that low in here for that. That can still bring us down to, that's what, 77.35 or something. So we know that 78 is the first level there. So between 78 and this number here is likely where this correction is going to be. Now, yeah, so this whole trend could be counted differently just depending on this particular spike here for this. So a bit of a tricky one, but it doesn't really matter that much. I know that I know this is going to be corrective. I know it's an overshoot pattern, so I know that we'll be looking down something, something like this here for this. And then we'll find support and then we'll move up. So if you're long, we just really wanted to keep the stops out of the way for this, and then we'll move up from that point. But this is going to drag the ASX down. That was my point here with this. So we can go in and have a little look at this here, just on the hourly chart here. The logical count here would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 here. It's a typical wave 2 and typical wave 4, and then down for wave 5 here. So I was thinking that we could be looking at this here as an A wave here, some sort of B wave here, and a C wave here that doesn't really have to reach all the way up there, but can do for the B wave, and then looking at 5 waves down for the C wave, so to speak, somewhere in here, and then up, and that would give us our buying opportunity in here to go long at that point there. That's a bit of a rough thing. Now it may change a little bit. This can also cascade lower here. We could also have this as 1 and 2 here, and then if I can just copy this here as 1 and 2 here, and then a nice third wave down here. But this has pulled back up 50-60% of that move down there, where if it was a wave 4, it would only pull back up 30%, 38.2%, 40%, so up into this space here. So it has pulled up higher than that, so I haven't labeled it like that, but that being a strong wave there could be construed as a third wave. But this is looking very typically as a fourth wave here, because it's a bit lazy, where the wave 2 is a bit more sharp and edgy. But we can always expect to get a bounce off 6.5, as you know. So yeah, this is what we're looking at. The first high above the level, the ABC correction, and then we'll probably move in over this side over here. We couldn't really go long unless we had support. If this just kept going up through here, if we had support on the 61.8%, then we could look at being long at that point. So I suggest that we don't do very much in this particular space here, and just be careful. You don't have to be in the market, you don't have to trade. You could be looking at something else, perhaps doing some research instead of being addicted to the price, so to speak. Yeah, but let's just allow this to float out a little bit, and then we'll pick up the thread over this side over here. So yeah, anyway, that's my best guess at what's happening at the moment with this, but I don't want to trade that. The setup is not there yet. Alrighty, cheers.